We are working on chapter 5 in the book, starting out with Java, and the we are in chapter 5, and the problem we are working on today is called UpperCaseFile class, and they want us to create a class called UpperCaseFile, and the class would take two file names. And the first file should be read, and then the contents of that file should be copied to another file in uppercase. So basically, what they want us to do is to open the first file, copy the contents of that file, and copy it to the second file, and make it uppercase. It is simple. So what we would do is we would create, I already created a class called UpperCaseFile. So first we have to create variables for these file names. You say file, first file, and then file, second file. Then we have to create the constructor, which would be UpperCaseFile. And the constructor takes two file names, first file and second file. We would say then we have to initiate the file names. Say first file equal new file, first file, this, second file, new file, second file. Then after that we have to open the first file. We will say public, and we will return a string because we want to use this file's content to make it uppercase later. Say open first file. Then we will say to try catch. We will catch IO exception. Input output exception. Then before the try, we have to create a variable called line to store the contents of the first file. So we'll say scanner new scanner first file, first file. Then we have to go through iterate the contents of that file by saying scanner has next line. Then you have to create a variable to hold every line. Say scanner next line. We don't actually have to do this, but I like to separate the statements. Then line, you have to store every line to whatever the file contains. Say data, then we have to add a new line after that. Otherwise the output would be a long string of lines. We don't want that. After the while loop ends, we have to close the scanner object to avoid memory leaks and something like that. Then we have to return the line. Then we have to create another method. This would be void. It will not return anything. You have to open the second file. Then you have to create the try and catch statement. Then we have to make a variable to hold the data from the file above. Say open file, whatever the contents of the first file would be stored in this variable. Then we have to create, you have to use the class printWriter, writer new, printWriter, then the second file, then UTF-8 for encoding purposes. Then we have to say write writer, then print line. We have to make it uppercase, whatever the contents of the first file, to uppercase. Then we have to close the writer object also. Then after that we have to test our class. If you are using IntelliJ, you could to create the main method, you could just type psvm and space. It will auto-complete it for you. Then you have to create an instance of our class, which was uppercase. Then our class takes two arguments. First would be the first file, and the second would be the second file, which would contain the uppercase version of the first file. So we would this would be our first file, right? As you can see, it is not uppercase, it's just a lowercase. So we would take this file and make it uppercase. So we have to copy the path of this file, then have to close it and paste it here. And the second file we will create it, I will call it second file txt. So after that we have to call the open second file method. We have to call that. Then let's test it. Okay, the program did not give us any errors, so I assume it worked. So let's find out if this worked. This is the second file that we created, and as you can see, all the lines are uppercased as they requested us to do. So that would be it. It is not that difficult if you really think about it. And I will paste it in my GitHub account for this code for you to copy and practice on. And I will see you next time. Hope you like it.